Okay, we're here. We're live. I want to thank everybody for joining me and Marcel today. Marcel, I'm very glad to have you back on the show. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, Tony. Thank you for having me back.
Good, good. Now, I want to ask first and foremost, how are things going with the campaign so far? I know you're in the last stretch of things. I think the election is about 17 days away, if I'm not mistaken, something like
Yep,
that.
17 days away, but South Carolina just approved early voting. So it's now just, let me see, May 31st. So it is on Tuesday. The polls officially open on Tuesday because South Carolina actually approves early voting for the first time in modern history. And of course, it will be this election. So after me drilling June 14th into people, now I got to let people know, okay, May 31st as well. And now I have to try to get my name out there as much as possible, which I've been doing. But now this final push is the most important push because, like I said, May 31st. I don't want anyone going to the polls and voting for Clyburn just out of a terrible sense of comfort and then say, damn, I found out about Marcel. I like this guy, but I already voted for Clyburn because that can happen.
Now, we were talking, behind the scenes, right, before the live got started, and you were telling me that what you've noticed for the first time in a long time is now Clyburn is actually, to some degree, making an attempt to campaign and win the people of the sixth district over. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because he's not known for that. He takes the sixth district for granted. He just assumes that everybody's going to vote for him. But this time around, there's billboards popping up, signs popping up. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's bad when he has to get a news reporter named Skylar for the Post and Courier to write a fangasm letter saying he wrote some article, Clyburn's been there for 3 decades and shows no signs of slowing down. Like, what purpose did that article serve? He didn't give any information about any legislation he's working on. He just wrote some fluff piece saying that the other candidates and I were long shots. We haven't raised any significant money, even though I'm almost at $200,000. Had I been sitting on my behind for 30 years and funneling money into my relatives like Clyburn's been, yeah, I will be a millionaire too, I guess. But I haven't had 30 years. In 7 months, I'm at $200,000. If I kept going at this rate in 30 years, I would far surpass Clyburn. And yes, billboards of Clyburn, I've seen them mainly in the northern part of my district. I guess he figures I have the coast, so he is really putting billboards up in the northern part. But I have seen for the first time ever yard signs in my town. I've never seen them before. Billboards, I don't think I've ever seen, but I could definitively say I've never seen a Clyburn yard sign. I want to show y'all something funny. I'm gonna put this on Twitter, but I want to show it to y'all right now. Someone just texted me this. It's probably gonna be hard to see, but I hope y'all can see it. If you notice here, it has a Clyburn yard sign. This is in Charleston. I love my Charleston people. And that guy running for state superintendent of schools who's a Clyburn fan, because they all roll together. But if you look at the sign next to it, it says Clyburn gave you Joe Biden. I don't know who did that, but somebody took a poster and hand wrote on there, Clyburn gave you Joe Biden, and they put it next to Clyburn's yard sign. So people are seeing this guy is shook. People are seeing that he's trying to do damage control because he endorsed a white supremacist. And I ain't talking about Trump because he endorsed Trump. I'm talking about Joe Biden, the man who's been working with Ku Klux Klan members and segregationists, and is a segregationist himself for decades, who told Black Americans he would have our back, but then turns around and tells Black representatives, don't expect too much reparations for descendants of American slaves, but then says to illegal immigrants, y'all deserve $450,000 because y'all went to jail for breaking the law. The same man wrote the crime bill. So he's definitely, I'm seeing him having to work more than he's ever had to work to get this seat. And I am confident I am going to defeat him and replace him.
Now, take a moment to talk a little bit about what the difference would be between having you in the sixth representing the sixth district versus having Clyburn, because we've talked about this before, but it was maybe almost close to a year ago now. There's something in the 6th district called the Corridor of Shame. And
Mm-hmm.
you've also explained before as well how I believe the 6th district of South Carolina is one of the poorest districts, if not the 6th poorest
The
district,
sixth poorest
in
district in the
all of the
USA.
United States of America. So speak a little bit on that, and what could the people of South Carolina expect differently from you?
Well, it's the sixth poorest district in the United States of America. And just for context, as of 2021, there were 435 congressional districts in the United States of America. How do you bypass 429 other districts to be almost the poorest in the nation? Only Clyburn can pull that off, okay? Not only that, his district has the most toxic water in the nation. His district has the highest eviction rates in the nation. His district has the worst health outcomes in the nation. One qualifier is that his district has the highest level of Black amputees in the
Ooh.
United States of America. His district has had some of the highest levels of land theft of Black Americans. So one difference that's going to differentiate him and I is, one, I have a Black agenda. Okay, it's the centerpiece of my platform. That's why my slogan is repair Black America to fix America. Clyburn's slogan has do something for every other group in America except Black America. And if anyone for Black America has the audacity to demand something from their vote, I'm going to curse them out. As we saw he did with that Black brother who simply said to him, reparations is a big deal. And he cursed at him, waved his finger in his face. You think he would have done that to a white person? You think he would have done that to one of these brown people? I don't know who these brown people are. I guess they mean Hispanics and Latinos. So brown people. You think he would have done that to an Asian American or an illegal? No. But he felt comfortable doing that to a Black person, the people who give him the most votes. I won't do that to my people when they come and ask me about issues that are important to Black America. My plan, A Better Deal for Black America, has my reparations platform, which includes direct monetary payments. It includes returning the Freedmen's Bureau, an agency of the government that's going to handle all issues pertaining to equity for Black Americans, freedmen, descendants of American slaves. It's going to make us a protected class status, tax exempt status, direct monetary payments, incentivizing us returning to our historic communities, which means getting ownership of our land again, incentivizing Black farming, a return to our agricultural roots. Those are just some of the things I'm going to have. Two, I have a transportation platform. There are so many people in my rural area that live the majority of their life in the woods, as we call it here. They can't get to a good paying job, if any job. They can drive 10 miles if they're able to catch a ride and not pass even a gas station, let alone a grocery store. So they live in food deserts, healthcare deserts, can't get to a parent-teacher conference, can't get to a doctor's appointment. They can't get to culturally enriching opportunities like a show or a museum. Their lives are literally stuck in their slice of rural America. And there's nothing wrong with living in rural America, but they should be able to explore this country of ours as well. I have a plan to address transportation needs, a car buyer and maintenance program, but also helping to expand public transportation to rural areas. My education platform, it will make school funding equitable. No longer will you have the school down the street in this county has this much in tax, property tax revenue, so they get this much money, but the poor school next door where I live, the Corridor of Shame, gets this much money, so we get the worst of quality of teacher experience. Not saying our teachers are bad, but teacher experience. We have the least resources, and we go home to impoverished communities. Funding will be equitable. And of course, you know my plan to bring back the Black community. Not just a bunch of Black people living around each other, but having us know each other, bringing in open green spaces, eliminating abandoned buildings by incentivizing people to have businesses in those buildings, having us police ourselves, have our own judicial community. My platform makes me different from him. My passion for my people makes me different from him. I don't have any protection. If I lose my job now, I have no guarantee I'm going to have another one. I don't have millions of dollars in the bank like he does. I don't have relatives that I funneled tens of thousands of dollars into like he did. So I am putting it on the line for my people. He won't even put out a statement condemning an anti-black terrorist attack towards our people. When Asians were under attack, he specified it was an attack against Asians. He said hashtag stop Asian hate. He put forth a plan to protect them. We have the same thing. He doesn't say it was an anti-black attack. He doesn't say hashtag stop anti-black hate. He hasn't put forth one piece of legislation, but I tell you what he did do. He helped pass a resolution in the House condemning anti-Semitism because that bastard who killed our brothers and sisters said one bad word about Jewish people, but he killed black people. He had the word nigger written on his gun. But we don't get that from Clyburn. I came out swinging with policies. And last but not least, what I'm doing right now is what differentiates me from Clyburn. I'm speaking to the new black media or the real black media. I'm speaking to you. I speak to all the other shows out there, whether it be Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Africa Diaspora, Dana with the Data, Nicole's View. I go to where my people are. I've done that with my meet and eats, as I call them, by going to barbershops, food trucks, going to black media. I live and breathe pro-blackness. That doesn't mean anti anyone else, but it means I'm going to lift my people up. And by lifting my people up, that is what will truly lift America up. That's the difference between us.
Now, for those of you who want to donate to Marcel's campaign, the link is pinned in the comments section in the live chat at the very top. Also, if you're watching the replay right now, you will see the link to donate to his campaign pinned in the comments section below. And I'll just give you a quick glance of what that section of his website looks like. So if you land here where you see it says donate, obviously you're in the right spot. This is where you want to be if you want to donate to Marcel's campaign, which I strongly suggest that you do. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit, but not too much. I want to go off Clyburn for just a minute, and I want to speak on Stacey Abrams, and I would really love for you to kind of react to what she said. Now, this clip made its rounds online. A lot of people have been talking about this, and I'm just going to play it for those who haven't heard it. It's about 2 minutes and 14 seconds long. And Marcel, just please afterwards, just give us your thoughts on this.
Definitely.
The question is why are politicians so afraid to say that they're doing something specifically for black people? Like they use the quote of poor people and the people of color, the underprivileged. Why is it that you can't just come out and say, I'm doing this for black people because black people need it? Because so many things have been done to us throughout the history of this country. So many things have been done to us, but very little has been done specifically for us. Why do you think that is?
Because African Americans represent 12% of the population. And so if you are a traditional politician doing the math, you think if I name this group, I am going to lose other people, and I can't get, if every single black person voted for me, this may not get me what I want. So let me make it vague enough that other people don't get offended by helping.
Oh, you just gave me an idea. I hate to cut you off, but black people, we just gonna have to start finding like the candidate that we don't like the most. We just gotta act like we like them, so won't nobody like them. Think about that shit. Like if we just showed up at the next election acting like we like the one person we really didn't like, all the white people be like, I don't know about this guy.
If you can try this experiment in 2023, I would be greatly appreciative. We're 12% of us. We're maybe inching towards 13% of the population. So, and on a federal level, that's been part of the problem. That it's been a challenge. Now, I got into trouble from a lot of folks when I ran in 2018 because I specifically talked about black people. But I also talk about Latinos, I talk about Asian Americans, because each of those communities face different challenges. But I wake up black, I go to sleep black, and I live black. And for me, it is anathema to pretend that I am not who I am. I'm not always going to only talk about what we can do for black people, but I'm always going to make certain I am thinking about how we serve the black community. And I think it is disingenuous to walk away from it. But to your point, people want to know why it happens. It happens because in the math, it's hard to win an election with just black people.
Right.
Okay, so according to Stacey Abrams, mathematically, you cannot win an election with just speaking to Black people. Go ahead and speak to that, Marcel. We heard what she had to say. What would you? How do you respond to something like that?
Oh man, that has me pissed. So one, let me start with the easiest part. That 12% of the population has been proven to be a lie again and again and again. Why is it that some of us keep parroting that goddamn lie? The Census Bureau comes out every single decade and admits they undercount us. They used to just do it intentionally, which they probably still do. Ever since the 3/5 compromise, Black people have never been accurately counted in the United States of America. Check this out. They say that the Black birth rate is still above average. Black women still have around 600,000 babies a year. And that's even with Black women having some of the highest abortion rates, okay? They say that Black immigrants are among the fastest growing group of immigrants. They say Asian Americans have far less children, have a high immigration rate, but not as much as Black people are giving birth to children. How is it that every other group is going up and we're staying the same, but you're telling us that we are growing faster than average, but we never seem to budge? The white population is declining, but every other group is going up. The math ain't mathing. In 2010, they undercounted Black Americans by 4 million people. So to this person commenting here, before you're immigrant, you believe the numbers are low? Well, you're believing incorrectly. They undercounted us in 2010 by 4 million. That was no pandemic. In 2020, when they suspended field operations early, when they could not get people to go out into the field because of COVID, and then we had worldwide protests, they are now saying they undercounted us by twice as much as 4%. So if they're saying 12%, we can conservatively say that we're 16 to 17%. That's conservative. When you think about the fact that Black Americans have the lowest response rate on the census. Now, the other parts, Stacey's full of it, and she is. One, if it's all about the math, then how the hell is it that Asian Americans got a whole damn bill that was written to protect them? The implementation might be for everyone, but the findings, the reason was to protect Asian Americans. That's what led to that legislation, okay? The ages are only 5 to 6% of the population, and yet they got legislation for them. I heard that Joe Crow, right now, as we speak, is planning to meet with those Sikten people. Those Sikten got people name. I'm glad they fell off on BTP or KTP, some Korean pop, whatever, to discuss anti-Asian hate. 6% of the population. Black Americans, I think there's like 20-something million Asian Americans. Black Americans like 48 to 50 million. LGBTQ, that's all you hear them talk about. Stacey Abrams, LGBTQ are like 4% of the population. Yet you hear them talk about the Fair Marriage Act, and Joe Crow wants to do reparations for people who were denied the right to marry because it was same sex. Trans people are less than 1% of the population. Less. And yet you got the Democrats tripping over themselves, trying to make sure that a 18-year-old, 200-pound boy can go and wrestle a 12-year-old, 100-pound girl because he identifies as a girl that day. So how come every other group, which is far smaller numbers than us, gets policies? Oh, here's this one. Native Americans are just 2% of the population. And they have had historic levels of funding under this administration. So how is it that Black Americans, that the census says they undercount, because in the 1980s, the Census Bureau undercounted Black Americans by as much as 50%. It's not as bad now, but it's still very, very bad. How come we, far outnumbering all these other groups, and if you include Latinos, Afro-Latinos in the Black American number, it's even higher. How can she say it's all about math? And for her to be in Georgia to say that when it was because of Black Americans that not one, but two Democrats, they're both useless, Warnock and that Ossoff guy, they both useless. They both been doing a goddamn thing specifically for Black Americans to address the poverty, the gun violence, the poor schools, the land theft. But it's because of Black Americans they were able to get in that seat. So Stacey is just saying the quiet part out loud. She is just saying, I'm not going to do anything for you, but please don't get mad at me. It's because it's the math. That's what Stacey is saying. And she also, people got mad at her about talking about Black people specifically. When that happened? Did I miss that? Did you catch that? When did Stacey Abrams talk about Black people specifically?
I've never heard that. I've never heard it either. Specifically.
Is Stacey Abrams, maybe somebody in the comments can tell me, does she have a Black agenda on her website? I've been on her website before. So unless I need to pull out the magnifying glasses, they say sight is the first thing that goes when your age starts catching up with you. So unless I need to put on my magnifying glass or the heifer typed in invisible ink, does Stacey Abrams have a Black agenda on her website? Can someone in the comments check that right now? And if they all say yes, I am going to say, okay, I'm wrong. Go ahead, Stacey. You working with something, but I looked on it and I haven't seen it. So when has Stacey Abrams ever specifically talked about Black Americans? I wanted to like Stacey Abrams. I really did. Because I felt she was incredibly intelligent. And I felt that something about her seemed genuine. But now, after what happened when she lost that election in 2018, and the way she went out there, to me, just pretty much playing the fiddle for Joe Crow, not holding him accountable when he had allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior with that lady that accused him, and there was actual evidence. The lady did used to work for him. The lady's mother did call Larry King's show, I believe it was, and there was and she backed away from that after talking about what was that little phony women's right movement that kind of fizzled out when white feminists saw that Black women weren't going to go out there and be on the front lines for them. Oh, the Me Too movement. Yeah, the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement ain't lasted more than 2 seconds when they found out that Black Americans weren't going for them trying to make Black men the boogeyman. Well, Stacey Abrams was all Me Too until Joe Crow was accused of being sexually inappropriate with someone. Then, when he did his You Ain't Black stuff, she did not hold him accountable. So I'm no longer, I never felt that she was on cold, like, I consider myself to be, but I felt she had potential. I see now Stacey is just a career politician. And I wanted to really like her. I really did.
Now speaking on, having Black agenda and reparations and speaking directly to Black Americans, I want to shift gears just. Oh, I almost forgot. Before I do that, I just want to highlight that what you're saying is true, and also what Stacey's saying is false concerning Black Americans and how we sway the voting in this country. Whether you're talking about voting for the president of the United States, governor, whatever. Right. Just really quick, I want to show everybody the CNN article. I want to pull it up for you. Right now, it's right here in front of you, as you can all see. And let me move that ad out the way. And this was an article titled, "It's not just like," oh my goodness, these ads are going crazy.
They're annoying, I know. I wouldn't mind if it was one of mine's popping up, but
I know,
one
right?
Of mine. They're annoying. Get them off.
I can't. That's interesting. I can't get it off now. Okay, there.
Clyburn, cut it out.
Yeah. I know, right?
Stop being petty and let us have our show.
Exactly. The article is titled, "It's not just Latinos and younger voters. Democrats are slipping among Black voters too." And just real quick, this paragraph states, Black voters form the core of the Democratic Party's base. They cast ballots for Democrats in greater proportions than pretty much any other demographic group. Without the massive backing of Black voters, the last 3 Democrat nominees, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and Barack Obama, would not have made it in the general election. So what CNN is telling you right here is that without the Black vote, there would have never been a Joe Biden, a Hillary Clinton, or Barack Obama. Yet Stacey Abrams is, in my opinion, kind of deliberately being dishonest.
Yeah.
by saying that the percentage of Black Americans that are in this country is not enough to win an election, so that's why we can't speak directly to you. Yet CNN, which is essentially the Democratic news network, they're telling you right here and now that that's not the case, right? So with that being said, now let me shift gears a little bit, and I want to come to this individual right here. Now,
Oh goodness.
you had a little back, and after this, we're going to get back into some more of your campaigns, right? The campaign.
One of the
yeah.
members of my fan clubs here, the Hive, and now I got this lady. I got so many fans out there. But okay.
Well, before we go too deep into her, there's two reasons that I wanted to bring her up. The first reason is this: you had a little back and forth with her online, and throughout the back and forth and the tweets and retweets and so on and so forth, she made this statement here. Let me scroll down. Now, she said that she wrote this: in case anyone was excited about Marcel's candidacy, as I was, please know he is also anti-abortion and anti-immigrant. No longer excited, right? A gentleman responded to her, I'm more excited about Marcel for Congress than I will ever be for you or any of the DSA. DSA means Democratic Socialists of America, backed candidates. Many of you don't realize how anti-Black you all can be. Also, I don't see reparations for Black Americans on your campaign site. Now, this is what I wanted to point out. She stated that reparations are 100% on my website, not nearly as detailed as Marcel's plan, though. Now, when you go to her website, as I have right here, unless something has changed within the last 24 hours, there is nothing on here about reparations. Now, as usual, especially if you're talking about Democrat socialists like the AOCs of the world and Ilhan Omar's, it's typically their same type of platform, concerning LGBTQ issues, women's issues, immigration, police, and so on and so forth. My point is this, though. Here's my point of bringing this up. Have you noticed over the course of the last few months that you've been running, because I've noticed this, that there are a lot of people that have all of a sudden, since your success, you can say, have been false flagging with saying, I support reparations and I'm running a reparations campaign. My campaign is on a reparations platform. Like, forget about her for a moment. She's clearly lying. But other people have come out of the woodwork saying that I'm running for mayor, I'm running for this, I'm running for that on reparations. And it seems like they're piggybacking to see if they can gain the kind of success that you have, but they don't really mean it. Just have you noticed that? Do you want to speak to that a little bit, of people kind of false flagging being about reparations?
Yes, and I'm not surprised. Black Americans, freedmen, those of us descendants of American slaves, we've always been the trendsetters. So, I'm not surprised that, like usual, they're trying to follow us, but they can't do us. Only we can do us. And she's a liar. I called out on it. I'm not sure if you noticed. She's been getting race shields. It's like ever since she tried to come for me, all her tweets have been getting race shields, and I love to see it. You love to see it. She was trying to get her husband deported, thinking I was going to marry her. Don't want you. Even if I was straight, you wouldn't be my type. I need her to go somewhere, have several seats. And I don't know why she's acting like she didn't know that I was anti-abortion. I'm not anti-abortion. I'm anti-mass abortion. I am against Black children being aborted because most Black women say they abort their children because of poverty. And yet, Black poverty has not ever been addressed. But they make sure the abortion clinics are in our neighborhoods. They're incentivizing us killing our kids while telling illegal immigrants, have children or bring your children so you can use that as a reason for us to allow you to stay in America. I am saying let's address the causes of abortion, which is poverty. I am saying that when a Black child in the womb has a beating heart, the same way someone was to hurt or assault that woman or unfortunately kill that woman and that child within the womb, they will be charged with 2 murders because it is a life. When the child has a beating heart, that child should be protected. I am saying if we have not aborted our numbers, 20 million, more than any other group, proportionally speaking, we will have immensely more political, social influence. They know it. Anyone who's examined the issue of abortion know it. Outside of medical emergencies, our kids deserve to live. People call me pro-life. Yeah, I am pro-life, not pro-birth. I'm pro-life. I want that child to have a good quality of life in the womb and outside the womb. But I'm also pro-chance. They say the Black woman is the most unprotected in America. Lies. Black children are the most unprotected. I am saying let's give our Black children a chance to live in a world where they get what is due to them and they have a high quality of life. So yes, I've noticed the come up. 2, I don't want her. And 3, if she thinks anything she said is going to shame me, I proudly stand on my stance for abortion. And I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm anti-illegal immigration, and I am anti-putting immigrants before you put native-born American citizens first. And Black Americans are always the ones they put last, as we are seeing here with Joe Crow.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, and I guess you can say it's pretty self-explanatory what you just said, but that was going to be one of my questions as well that we can get straight into. There's an individual that super chatted up.
One of my fans again. Oh, damn.
Pan-Africanism strikes back, and but I think it's an interesting question and a fair question to ask. There are people who say that you're xenophobic, but I do believe that there is a difference between somebody who is xenophobic and somebody who is anti-illegal immigration, but people paint you as being anti-immigrant. Those are two different things. Being anti-immigrant and anti-illegal immigration are two different things. So can you speak to that for a minute, to those who have that criticism of you? They're saying, oh, well, he doesn't like immigrants. He doesn't like immigrants. What do you have to say to critics that say that kind of stuff about you?
Between the Hive and the illegal immigrant lovers and the white liberals and the abort your baby fan club. Oh, goodness, I got too many people to do it. So first of all, it's not just about immigration, by the way. Either we are a nation of laws or we are not, okay? How the hell are we going to say we're a nation of laws, but then we make an exception for a special group of people? You do not get to be a special group of people who gets to decide that the laws don't apply to you, and then me running for Congress, a lawmaker supposed to uphold the law, then say, I'm going to reward you for breaking the law. What a slap in the face to people who did and followed the process the right way. What a slap in the face to Americans, and especially Black Americans, who have the lowest amount of wealth. Average American household wealth, take Black Americans out, it goes up to $122,000. Black Americans, $24,000, going downward. Shortest lives, Black Americans. Who owns the least amount of land in this country? Black Americans. Who's the least likely to own a car in this country? Black Americans. Who's most likely to die from medical malpractice in this country? Black Americans. Who goes to the worst schools in this country? Black Americans. Who makes up the most of the homes in this country? Black Americans. Who is more likely to not have to be denied the loan even when they qualify? Black Americans. Even an illegal immigrant is more likely to get a loan than a Black American whose ancestors built this country, fought for this country, defends this country, and whose legacy and people still contribute massively and positively to this country. We are the people who deserve to have first dibs on any resources. Yet you got people with the damn nerve to be up in our country illegally, or an immigrant demanding they get the resources. They ain't thinking about us, so I'm not thinking about them. It's called the law. Learn to follow it, okay? If anyone's been dealing with unfair laws around here, it's Black Americans, too. The other reason why people want to say xenophobic, because I don't tout the Pan-African line. Funny thing is, though, Tony, I've always said there's a room for Pan-Africanism. I don't feel the Pan-African ideology and the reparations movement are mutually exclusive. I feel my vision of Pan-Africanism is when Black Americans Black people throughout the diaspora and on the African continent all say to their respective historical oppressors, you owe me. People on the African continent can say, you did the Marshall Plan that put in trillions of dollars for war-torn Europe that caused the war. They caused the worst wars in history. We fixed it up. Wealth that my people generated for this nation. They did the same thing for Asia. They never did it for African continent. If you love Africa so goddamn much, get over there and help Africans fight to get their Marshall Plan from their historical oppressors. And if you are in the diaspora, if you are in Latin America, the Caribbean, step that game up. Step that game up and fight for reparations from your respective oppressor. If that makes me xenophobic, I'm damn proud to be a xenophobe. Goddamn proud of it. Okay? I am putting my people first. Okay? I am looking to fix America. Really? When you fix Black America, you save America. Okay? That's really what's going to happen. This country has been on the verge of collapsing. It's come close several times throughout history. But this time, I think we may very well go over the edge. But I am going to put Black Americans first. No one should complain about that because we've always been put last. Nothing I ever say is xenophobic. But you know what I find funny, Tony? Where are these Pan-Africans when Black Americans are dealing with anti-Blackness from illegal immigrants? Where are these Pan-Africans when African immigrants are coming over here? Obviously, not all of them, but too many of them. And they're saying, stay away from those Black Americans. They're lazy. They're violent. They don't work hard. What are they doing when they are getting specific policies set aside to protect immigrants, but Black Americans are left out? What are they doing when CARICOM is specifying reparations, not even for the entire Caribbean, but for just specific Caribbean nations? What are they doing when the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda are trying to get reparations from Belgium for their people? What are they doing when Nigeria is now saying they're thinking about reparations? Mexico saying they're thinking about reparations from Spain. Where's all this Pan-Africanism when Black Americans are left out of things to the bottom? Nowhere to be found. Wearing an African symbol on my chest is not justice for my people. Researching ancient African kingdoms is not justice for my people. Standing up and fighting for reparations is justice for my people. And if they truly love the African continent like they claim they do, they will be over there fighting for them to get reparations too.
Yeah, and I'm glad you cleared that up because, like I said earlier, there's a big difference between someone who is anti-immigrant or xenophobic and someone who's anti-illegal immigration. And the only thing that I've heard you do or say throughout the time that I've known you and throughout the time that I've followed you is be honest about your stance on illegal immigration, which you're it's fair. You know, if you enter the country legally, there's no way you should get priority and first dibs over Americans at all, right? But what do you want to say? Like you want to add some more? Go ahead.
I wanted to say that some of these people couldn't even find some of these countries on a map. Okay? And I'm not going to say about visiting because economically that wouldn't be fair. Now, I don't have money, but I've gone into that and I don't regret it, visiting African nations and Caribbean nations and nations in Latin America that have a high Black population or majority Black, Brazil and Colombia. Okay? I've spoken with Black people on the continent, African continent, and throughout the diaspora. And you know what's funny? All of them support what I'm doing for reparations. This was before I was running, but when I came across the reparations movement, Ethiopia, Egypt, Sudan, Nigeria, Ghana, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Brazil, Colombia, just to name a few. All of them were in support of Black Americans. So I am of the mindset it's only the problematic ones of their population that comes here. But the on-call ones are usually still in those nations. And I also want to say to people, if anyone thinks that I'm running as a Democrat, you're a fool. I am running as a Black man first and foremost. The Democrats owe my people. Because if not for my people, as that article you just highlighted, Tony, Democrats will not exist as a viable party. The Republicans were the first people, the first party that was for us. They abandoned us in the 1870s, and we still voted for them, unfortunately. I wasn't around then. I'm around now to make sure that the party we keep in power pays what they owe us, and they're going to. And people who don't know South Carolina, Immigration is not popular here. Forget white Americans. Talk to some of the Black Americans,
Well,
especially older Black
speak to
Americans.
that. That's very interesting. In South Carolina is known for, and especially in your district, is known for having a large Black American population. How is illegal immigration affecting the men and women of the Black men and women of the 6th district?
Oh, first of all, schools. I'm a teacher, and this is probably the most in recent years I've ever dealt with anti-Blackness. And it's not coming from the white children. It's coming from the children of illegal immigrants, mainly the Hispanic children. Now, they get the taste slapped out their mouth. Some get their nose broken because, our kids be about that life. But it's not the white kids, at least from my experience in recent years, saying the N-word and saying that we eat fried chicken all day. It is the Hispanic kids who are children of illegal immigrants. Then they come here and they get billions of dollars poured into educating them, into supporting them through these English as a second language programs. Wow, Black children, my area, we have our own language that we're not taught, that we were ridiculed for speaking the way we speak. Matter of fact, some idiots on the internet, which doesn't bother me, try to ridicule the way I speak. It's really an asset from a Black American language, Gullah Geechee, Sea Island Creole. They don't teach our Black kids that, but they're telling our Black kids to learn Spanish so we can get a job. When in a lot of our schools, sometimes we can't even find a math teacher, a PE teacher, let alone a Spanish teacher. So they're all also giving these illegal immigrants an advantage. They're putting trillions of dollars into them that comes from the Civil Rights Department that is originally for Black Americans, for our rights to be protected. We're the reason it exists, and it benefits them. Secondly, jobs. You probably saw that little, I was on Fox Soul recently debating immigration's impact on Black America. It was Tariq Nasheed, and then there was 2 other lawyers who have immigrant background. One, Guyanese, South America, named Kenda. Another guy named Sam of Haitian lineage. And she was like, well, they're doing jobs I don't want to do. I shut that down real quick. I packed her bags and told her, met her at the door with them. I said, Center for American Progress has been in support of illegal immigration at different times. 40% of jobs in the construction firm and on roofing, painting, electrical work, heating and air are done by illegal immigrants. Those were jobs that Black Americans, especially Black American men, used to do for generations. Good money, not even a high school diploma needed, just apprenticeship. They will learn from their fathers, grandfathers, or mothers, grandmothers. Those jobs are now being taken by people in the nation illegally. And Center for American Progress is just one of many sources that will show you that. Also, housing. It's not illegal immigrants' fault that we have a dearth of quality, affordable housing. But it is their fault that the little bit we do have doesn't go to Black Americans. It goes to them. It is their fault that when my people go to the hospital, they have to go through horrifically long waiting times because it's filled with people who are using hospital services in the emergency room, which is tax financed, but not giving back to the tax system. So I can go on, but I'm the person who has spoken with tens of thousands of South Carolinians. I have no reason to lie. I have people on my team that can attest to it. When I tell you that the issue that's one of the most cited is illegal immigration, I am not lying.
Now, I want to shift gears and come off of illegal immigration. And this is a kind of turn into a very controversial topic right now as well. Yeah. Very quickly before I get into that, once again, for those who want to donate to Marcel's platform, which I strongly suggest that you do, the donation link is pinned in the top section of the live comment below, the live comments up top. And also, if you're watching this on the replay, his donation link will be pinned in the comment section below as well. And once again, very quickly, here's a look at what the donation page looks like on Marcel's website. So if you click the links and you land here, you're in the right spot. Marcel's campaign, the election, I should say, is 17 days away, which is on June 14th. But if I remember correctly, Marcel, correct me if I'm wrong, early voting.
May 31st.
Early voting starts May 31st in South Carolina. Okay. So now let's shift gears a little bit. Because in the midst of all these mass shootings that have happened within a fairly short period of time, there's a lot of talk about guns and gun control and everything around people having guns. What is your position on gun control and gun ownership, especially in the midst of everything that we've seen unfold within the last 2 weeks?
I am for gun regulation, but I don't like to use the words gun control, because gun control usually gives the image of banning certain weapons, confiscation. I'm not for those things. Once upon a time, I would have been. Believe it or not, I grew up in here, rural South Carolina, where I still am. And, South Carolina is, one of the quintessential Southern states. So that stereotypical gun-loving Southerners, that's South Carolina. My brothers, and that's not just a white thing, young white guys to old black ladies with big hats and wear their little church purse, carry guns on them, okay? And I was against guns. I hated guns. My brothers always get those big metal bullets with the sharp, hollow tips. I thought they were evil. But the more I learned about our history when it comes to guns, and how even the only time they ever wanted to have gun control was to try to take it from Black Americans. And the more I saw our people being ambushed by these cowardly, despicable, bigoted scum, I am more and more becoming, you know what? As many guns as we can get them, and get well trained with them. Now, that being said, I do have common sense gun legislation. Some people don't like it. Some people feel I'm not far enough to the left when it comes to gun regulation. If I'm not saying ban all, I know people don't like the term assault weapons. Some people get mad. And some people feel I don't go to the right enough. If I don't say just hell, no laws against guns. Everybody gets a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun. No background check, just get a gun. So you'll get mad. I don't give a damn. I'm going to do what I have seen research shows is the safest thing. I do support eliminating all ghost gun sales. Guns should be registered. And when that gun is registered in your name, all guns should be registered. And when that gun is registered in your name, you are responsible for keeping up with it and making sure it does not fall into the wrong hands. That's one. Two, safe storage. You should not have your kids be able to get the guns out of your closet. Because what people don't say about gun violence, Tony, is that the majority of gun violence are suicides. Seriously, like over 60% are suicides. So safe storage helps in more ways than one. Three, I am for background checks, but not just to see if you ever done a violent crime. That's boring. I've never committed a violent crime until I commit one. And if the violent crime I commit is killing 30 people, then the background check ain't gonna stop that, because I ain't never done nothing yet. I'm talking about full-blown background screenings. Have you made terroristic threats? Do you have a history of making terroristic threats? Are you associating with officially recognized hate groups? If so, you don't deserve a weapon. And if you have weapons, they do need to be confiscated. I am for people who have committed violent crimes not being able to have guns. Now, Black Americans are the most likely to be wrongly arrested and wrongly convicted. So in the case of us being a protected class, that will have to be handled on a case-by-case basis, because they're quick to throw some nonsense at us. I just touched you on your shoulder, I assaulted you, because that will happen. So for us, it'll be different. I feel that schools do need armed guards. And I'm not talking about with handguns either. I'm talking about really armed. But if it's a majority Black school or has Black students, then it's required that the percentage of Black students, that needs to be the percentage of the armed guards there. Because we already see and know there's a lot of anti-Black bias among people who patrol the law. Am I saying all of them? No. But one is too many. And the FBI said in 2006, white supremacists had infiltrated police precincts. And this one is one that people may find controversial. I don't. We are a free society here in America, okay? I went to Kenya, and when I went to Kenya, they had scanners everywhere. They checked your car for bombs. They pat you down everywhere. Now, I enjoyed myself when I was in Kenya. And people there, and let me tell you, since they've started doing that, they've had very little terrorist attacks. So it's worked. But America is just a different society, culturally speaking. I don't think Americans will be as obedient, unfortunately. So I know the history of us being surveilled by these crooked authorities. I'm not, someone's telling me to be careful. No, y'all, don't tell me to be careful. Tell me I'm going to be there. Tell me I'm going to be there. Tell me I got your back. That's the type of energy we got to be on. That if there's a reason for me to be careful, you say, Marcel, I'm going to be there. Because I got me though. But thank you. We need to start screening these social media platforms, all of them. Okay? I believe in a right to privacy, but I also believe in a right to life. So if most of these despicable cowards who ambush people like cowards or get their weapons to shoot down people who weren't bothering them like cowards, they usually don't just do these on a whim. They write manifestos, as we've seen. They talk about it on chat rooms. We need to screen. If I can have the FBI knock on my door, and they have several times, okay, just for saying things that were minuscule, how is it that someone was able to plan a full-blown anti-Black massacre and nothing happened? So I believe in expanding surveillance. I do, and I'm not making apologies for that. And if you are flagged, the rules need to be clear for everyone. These are the type of things we're going to flag. And it needs to be things that will encompass actual data-driven decisions. That way we can stop these things before they happen.
Now, I'm glad you made that distinction. And I never actually thought about it like that either. I think you said gun control versus gun regulation. And just a quick, historic fact, and I'm sure many people know this already, but, I'm out here in California, as many of you know, Los Angeles to be exact. And essentially, you can't own a gun. Technically, you can, but realistically, it's like, what's the point? If you gotta, it's ridiculous. I don't want to go on a rant about that, but just as a point of history concerning what Marcel was saying, about a lot of these gun laws and gun regulation and gun control that we've seen throughout the years have come about as a means to disarm Black Americans. Here in California used to be an open carry state until the Black Panthers came around. And the moment they started open carrying to watch the police, and that one fateful day when they actually went to the Capitol, right, and ran into the Capitol building to not to hurt anybody, but just to make their presence be known and to read off their 10-point platform, almost overnight, Ronald Reagan, who I believe was the governor of California,
yes, he was,
killed it. He said,
and the NRA, and the NRA supported it. Now, when have you ever known the National Rifle Association to support any type of gun restrictions? That was the one time they did. It's always about trying to keep us disarmed. And you see, it took a while for that to process with me, because I used to think that these assault weapons, and I know people don't like that term, but this is a habit. I used to, and sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, when I see what happened in Buffalo, of course, but that was anti-Black. That's not a gun issue. That's an anti-Black issue. But when I see what happened in Texas, I do sometimes think like, okay, these weapons don't need to be out there. But when I think that they are already out there, hundreds of millions of them, the answer is us to make sure we have it too. So when we're shot at with those type of calibers, we can shoot back with those type of calibers.
Now, speaking of Buffalo, I want to shift over there. After that happened, right, the white supremacists went up to the supermarket for the sole purposes of killing Black Americans. As far as I'm concerned, did he technically shoot 2 white people? Yes, but that I chalked that up to bad aim, right? Because that's not what he went. It was
bad aim.
That was bad aim. He
apologized to the white guy. He recognized and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. You're white. I'm not here for you."
Exactly. And I saw that video. Like I said last night, I can't tell people where I saw it at because you got to be careful on YouTube, but I saw it. And he literally, for people that don't know, he pointed at the white man that was cowering behind the register. He saw that he was a white man and literally said, "Oh, I'm sorry," in like the most softest voice, and then carried on to do the madness that he was doing. Now, with that being said, there's been a lot of talk online about an anti-black hate crime bill, but the politicians in power, the Jim Clyburns of the world,
exactly,
who you're running against, have completely dismissed that. So speak to that for a moment. You know, what does an anti-black hate crime bill look like? And specifically, we hear a lot about, and people talk a lot about Black Americans being a protected class. What does that mean for Black Americans to be a protected class?
Well, one, like I said, if a person has a felony on their record, they should still be exempt and allowed to be a gun owner unless it's a violent crime. I draw the line there. Don't care, black, white, whatever. Okay. It also means that if we are mistreated by the police or by anyone who's an office holder or even a private citizen, we can do this already, but for us, it will definitely expedited that we sue the pants off of them. It also means that the charges against a person will be enhanced. But that's my issue right there with an anti-black hate bill. They usually don't do a lot proactively, but they are usually reactionary in nature. It's usually if something happens to this group, you're really going to get the book thrown at you. And I'm okay with the book being thrown at people. I will never be anti-death penalty. I know that's something that people may not agree with me, but and because of what happened in Buffalo is exactly one of the reasons why I'm not anti-death penalty. I don't know why it even takes so long to put some of them to death. Okay, like you did it, die and die badly. So that's what it looks like to me. But a special class protection, on the other hand, looks like us having an agency of the government to serve our needs, the Freedmen's Bureau, which is just specifically for us and can enact policies specifically for us. So there's a difference between an anti-black hate bill and protected class status. They work together, but they're not the same. And I do want to point out, Clyburn is the majority whip, people, meaning that he sets the legislative agenda for Congress, the House of Representatives. Okay, he has not put forth an anti-black hate bill. The only reason we're even hearing about it is because of people like y'all in the comments, and because of people like Tony in the real black media, and because of Benjamin Crump, of all people, who has still been consistently pushing it.
How do you feel about Benjamin? Because Benjamin Crump has always been a bit suspect to me. But he is pushing this. He is really the only one that I've seen who is in the mainstream.
Exactly.
That's actually talking about an anti-black hate bill, a hate crime bill. Overall, in general, why do you think that that's not spoken on at all? Why are the politicians like Jim Clyburn and so forth ignoring that and pushing that to the side? Why do you think that is?
Black pain and black death is normal. We're supposed to be treated like that. We're supposed to be to the bomb society. We're supposed to just take it, pray to the Lord, forgive, cry, hug, and keep it moving and go to work the next day. It is normalized. You see, we talk a lot about white supremacy. I don't like that term. This goes beyond white supremacy. It's anti-blackness. And anti-blackness, like white supremacy, can come from anyone, but it's anti-blackness. This idea that we're supposed to be dead, we're supposed to be done for, and that is it. Boom, you get nothing. Clyburn is showing us that even when we get gunned down for just grocery shopping, he's not going to do a damn thing for us. What more does it take for us to see that? It happened in his own district. It happened right there in Charleston, just 50 minutes from me at Mother Emanuel. And Clyburn didn't do an anti-black hate bill. And I don't want to hear that the Democrats weren't the majority. Okay? I don't give a damn if they were. You are a leader. You put the bill up and you get support for the bill. That's what a leader does. A leader doesn't just try to do things they know will be easy to do. A leader do things that they know have to be done.
Now, with that being said, was there one other thing? No, that
No.
actually the anti-hate crime bill. No, that actually doesn't. Now, is there anything in closing, brother, that you want to say to the people that are watching concerning just, persuading them over? Why should they vote for Marcel come this May 31st, Tuesday, early voting?
I want to say to people that we're in the final stretch. Okay? Someone in the comments said, "What's your path to success?" I mean, God, I've done like 19 interviews and I haven't even posted them all. I've talked about that. I'm on my path to success right now. This is my path to success. Connecting with the people, showing up, speaking out, having a platform, sharing it, getting feedback, and actually getting up and doing it. This is my path to success right here. Y'all, we are in the final stretch. When I started this in America, campaigns usually last 2 years. 2 years. I started just 7 months ago. I spent the first 2 months saying I was just going to run symbolically. People convinced me 2 months later to make it a legitimate run. I am surprised at where we are now. I went from having not a penny to now on my way to $200,000. That's a rate. If I went at this rate, I would outpace Clyburn. And no, I'm not a mathematician, but I would outpace Clyburn in just a matter of 4 years by far. Okay? If I kept going at this rate. Y'all did this. We are showing them. You heard what Tony said. People are already trying to use reparations as a buzzword. I'm not saying I'm the only one that did it. I'm glad to have a little part in it. We did this. The real black media did this. The black grassroots did this. We are in the final stretch. If you can donate, if there was ever a time I needed donations, it's now. I have billboards all over the place. I'm contacting over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of homes right now as we speak. Radio interviews, ads all over the place electronically. But I have to do more because I have to make sure I catch every voter before they go to the polls on May 31st. I don't want anyone voting for Clyburn just because they didn't know me. So marcelforcongress.com/donate. Let's show the Congressional Slack Caucus and all of them that you can ignore Black America, but Black America ain't going away. You can ignore us, but you sure as hell can't stop us. And let's do that by sending a candidate from the black grassroots to Congress.
And once again, in closing, for those of you who wish to donate to Marcel's campaign, which I strongly suggest that you do, I've been an open supporter of Marcel from the very beginning. That has not changed. I am 100% team Marcel for Congress. And this is the website that you need to come to. There's the donation section of his website. Now you can find the link pinned in the live chat comment section above. And if you're watching the replay, you can also find the link pinned in the comment section below. And once again, if you land here on this page, you'll see that Marcel is only 17 days away from the election on June 14th, but you can do early voting if you're in the 6th district starting Tuesday, March 31st. And once again, if you land on this page, this is where you want to be to put your donation in for Marcel for Congress. So I want to thank you for joining me today, brother. It's always great to have you on. It's always a great conversation. And that's it. That does it for today's show. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Tony, for having me. I appreciate your support from beginning and to whatever the end may bring. The fact that we got this far, the fact that now you got people like that, that lady who wanted to deport her husband and wanted me to move in. The fact that we got people like her saying reparations as a buzzword or whatever, that right there shows we've won already. So thank y'all.
All right, you have a good one, Marcel.
Take care.
All right, well, that does it for today's show. That was a very good conversation that we had with Marcel. And in closing, I just want to say this because I've heard these talks about Marcel being anti-immigrant or xenophobic and things of that nature. I've never seen Marcel be anti-immigrant or xenophobic, ever. I've seen him respond to people who talk crazy to him and say silly stuff to him. And in response to that, he gives his true feelings and stance on things like illegal immigration, but I've never seen Marcel, for no reason at all whatsoever, have anything to say about immigrants, or legal immigrants ever. I've never heard that before. And I follow Marcel pretty closely. I have him on the show all the time. So I just want people to be careful when you start seeing these things about Marcel being xenophobic and anti-immigrant and things of that nature. If that was the case, he wouldn't even be on my show. As many of you know, I'm Haitian, and I was born and raised in Chicago. So I'm from America, but both my parents are Haitian, and me and Marcel have a good relationship. We get along well, and like I said, I've never seen anything of that nature come from him. So be very careful when you listen to people saying these kind of things about him, that he's xenophobic and he doesn't like immigrants. Not liking immigrants and being against illegal immigration are two completely separate things that should in no way, shape, form, or fashion be conflated as being the same. So I really just wanted to end it with that. And I've never heard this brother be anti-immigrant or xenophobic ever. I've never heard that before. So with all that being said, that does it for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. And if you haven't already, make sure you donate to Marcel's campaign. The link, like I kept saying, I've been saying over and over again, it will be pinned in the comment section below if you're watching the replay. But if you're on a live stream right now, you can catch the link to his donation page is also pinned in the live comment section at the top. So with all that being said, I want to thank you all for joining me. Please hit the thumbs up, the like button on your way out, and I'll catch you guys on the next go around. Peace.